Hi, today I'll be giving a brief introduction to my company's enterprise architecture, where it could be improved, and I'll talk briefly about the disadvantages and the advantages of the Zagman framework. So, my company, NTU, as you know, is actually a very large company. So, within the university itself, there are so many schools, there's so many departments, be it the academic side or the administrative side. So we had an issue where there was so much, because of the scale, we have so many systems all over the place, and within their systems, data was also all over the place. So as staff, it was very hard to get things done because if I had to request for certain information about, for instance, a certain individual, I'd one go to human resources to get one part of the data, two, for instance, to be a student, and then go to another department to get another set of data. Then I have to come back and combine the data together, which is certainly very time consuming. So in 2009, management decided it's high time to get their act together and start to consolidate all this mishmash of systems and put it in one place. And hence, the NTU Enterprise Architecture was born. So the IT department of NTU sat down, probably with consultants, and started to conceptualize what the NTU enterprise architecture would consist. And four main things came up. So the first of the main category would be teaching and learning. Second would be research. Third would be facilities management, and fourth would be management and administration. So the IT department came up with these four main pillars that will consist of our architecture, and I would feel that it's pretty clear and correct categorization of our systems, I would say. So, just to give a brief background of the systems, now as a staff, I would just have to go sit down a computer, log on to centralized system, and then I'm able to make a request for any kinds of information within the centralized system. Of course, being a centralized system, there are certain pitfalls. Let's give a very good example. A few years back, there was a failure in one of the hardware, and it brought the whole system down. So for pretty much the whole day, we couldn't do anything except to wait for the technicians to fix the problem and get the system running again. So I believe, well, NTU would have learned from that and started to improve by not putting all the eggs in one basket and started to make a bit more backups and stuff like that. But still, fast forwarding to 2014, the architecture is still very nascent, but it's certainly improving, and even within the company itself, they started to consolidate departments as well as to make it easier for the processes and the flow of information. So I believe the enterprise architecture has brought pretty much a great blessing to us all, uh, making things a lot easier for us. So now moving on to the Zachman framework, the advantages and disadvantages of it. The Zachman framework certainly is very good as it provides a very matrix kind of a view, allowing you to see a whole system and start to compartmentalize each and individual one of the processes into a system and start to arrange and categorize them. So it allows the architectural designer who's actually designing the whole architecture to have a very guided and concise view of how the architecture would look like. So I guess it's a good thing. It prevents a lot of confusion, a lot of overlaps. It allows you to see, which system I should implement, which one I should not, what are the risks of doing so. So it gives a very clear view of the designing whole architecture. However, being such a large framework, it certainly is a very top-down kind of approach. As I mean, it seems to me, then most people will think of it as, hey, first line will be, hey, business processes. Let's focus on that, then move on to the bottom one, which is not true, but people could misinterpret that. Second thing, that it seems that the Jackman framework heavily favors uh, data. So a lot of the design decisions, the development decisions are focused on the data centric, which I believe it's a bad thing. And the third thing I believe is not very good is that the Zachman framework actually encourages a lot of unnecessary documentation, considering that every cell requires some form of documentation. So it encourages too much documentation, even though it could be prevented, but it's certainly up to whoever is doing so to actually take note of that. So to summarize, I've given you an overview of NTU's enterprise architecture, the four pillars, what are the pitfalls, and what can be improved in architecture, and I've talked about the Zachman framework and the advantages and disadvantages. So thank you for your time.